Disgraced celebrity comedian and TV star Bill Cosby became the first notable figure in the Me Too movement to be convicted for his crimes. While many of the star's accused crimes had passed the statute of limitations, one incident was able to get him behind bars. Despite this victory, Bill's sentence was perhaps a bit light. However, it now appears as if the convicted sex criminal doesn't have any intention of taking advantage of this easy way out. Join Factsverse as Bill Cosby decides to die in prison. Bill Cosby used to be one of the most beloved and friendly figures in entertainment, thanks to The Cosby Show. This all changed once he became one of the first major figures wrapped up in the Me Too movement around Hollywood. Soon afterwards, Bill became the first figure in the movement to be convicted of his crimes, a conviction that saw him forced to spend a decade in a Pennsylvania prison. Bill was accused of molesting dozens and dozens of women, but most of the accusations fell well beyond the statute of limitations. However, there was one particular incident that was able to get the celebrity comedian behind bars. Given the fact that Bill's conviction came from one crime and not the numerous crimes he was accused of, many considered the star's sentence to be rather light. As part of his sentence, Bill was given parole hearings scheduled throughout his decade sentence. A major caveat of his parole eligibility is that Bill needs to show that he's remorseful for his crimes. Given the fact that Bill and his team still refuse to admit any culpability, this is proving to be a harder task than it might seem. Even in the midst of a decade-long prison sentence, Bill is refusing to admit he did any of the crimes he was accused of. Bill has maintained his innocence through and through, however unlikely that innocence has come to seem in the eyes of the public. Bill's refusal to admit culpability means he's unlikely to be eligible for early release as a result of his probation hearing. Early release on probation would require Bill to complete a sex offender course, which the comedian simply cannot complete without admitting he has committed the crime he's been convicted of. Bill has currently served 3 years, with the third year of his term being the first he is eligible for probation. The star could prove to have a change of heart in the coming years, still possibly allowing for an early release. However, there are many factors that make it appear as if Bill is simply making the decision to die in prison, then face culpability for his crimes in any capacity. The aging comedian is now 83 years old, and many in his position would be looking for other ways to spend their twilight years than in a prison facility. However, it appears Bill is more than comfortable in the Pennsylvania Institute where he resides, claiming that his room is more like a penthouse than a cell. If he weren't in prison, it's likely Bill would be residing in a facility of another kind, and one not much more hospitable. Because of this, it's unlikely that the sentencing is having all that much effect on the elderly comedian's life. Still, it seems as if the issue that Bill is more concerned with is that of his innocence. However increasingly likely it has appeared to the public that Bill committed the crimes he's been either accused or convicted of, the comedian has maintained his innocence at every point. Bill's pleas of innocence almost allowed him to get off free from his accusations, given that the majority of them came from times that were well beyond the statute of limitations. However, there was one crime that Bill was accused of that remained timely, and this was the crime that inevitably put the TV star behind bars. Surrounding Bill's criminal conviction has been a hype regarding many years of routine assault against unknowing female victims. However, the incident that put Bill behind bars stems from just one victim. This victim was Temple University basketball team manager Andrea Constant. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Bill Cosby and Andrea Constant had met at Temple University, where Andrea was an employee and Bill served on the board of trustees. In addition to his position on the board of trustees, Bill also used his success to position himself as a celebrity visitor on campus numerous times. Due to this position, it came as no surprise he was able to convince Andrea to accompany him socially. However, the social arrangement turned out to be much more than she bargained for. The incident between Bill and Andrea occurred in 2004, making it one of the more recent accusations pressed against the elderly comedian. Because of this, the accusation fell within the statute of limitations and was able to be taken to court. Besides the fact that dozens of other women had accused Bill of crimes that were similarly vile, Andrea's proved to be the crime that put Bill behind bars. From the moment he was accused to the moment he was brought to his cell, Bill maintained his innocence. However, there are a few public figures that seem to stand behind him. Bill used to be one of the most revered figures in the industry, having pioneered black entertainment with 1984's The Cosby Show. While black people had been featured on TV to a great degree prior to the introduction of the show, Bill fought to make them more ubiquitous in the general public. Prior black entertainment had drawn attention to the issue of race, but The Cosby Show broke boundaries by making it seem as if race wasn't an issue. Bill played a doctor on the program with a successful marriage and family, and he rarely, if ever, seemed provoked to draw attention to the color of his skin. The issues he faced in his show were universal, and watchers of any color or creed could identify. This allowed both Bill and the black community to reach a wider audience than they ever had. Bill's street cred is perhaps what allowed him to perpetuate his crimes unnoticed. Bill's crimes were an open secret in the Hollywood community for a number of years, to the point where it was a fairly obscure comedian who was able to bring attention to them the ultimate time. This comedian was Hannibal Buress, a fellow black comedian who venerated Bill a great deal in his youth. It was Hannibal's impromptu stand-up routine to an in-crowd at a local venue that inadvertently brought major attention to Bill's crimes, and arguably sparked the flames of the entire Me Too movement. Though Bill denies he ever did any of his crimes, there seems to be an air of guilt around him that's undeniable. The comedian has essentially been given a slap on the wrist when you consider the crimes he has potentially committed. Yet he would still rather waste away in his cell than come out and admit even a fraction of his guilt. Bill is currently serving time at Phoenix State Correctional Facility, where he seems to be increasingly unable to function without help. His legal team tried to get Bill released early due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but this was unsuccessful. Still, it was reported the pandemic was allowing Bill to shower in his own personal cell rather than the public showers forced on other inmates. Since his stay in prison, Bill has appeared to be suffering from dementia, as well as numerous other health setbacks. His daughter, Ensa, died shortly before his sentencing, and Bill has routinely expressed he has no awareness of her death. Routinely, he's questioned his spouse over the phone about her death, only to be led through the same routine of guilt and remorse once he realizes his daughter is actually dead. He also seems not to be doing well physically. Many sources claim Bill has essentially gone blind due to engorged corneas, and he's also seemed largely unable to get around without personal help. Now it's time to hear from you. Comment down below to share whether Bill's crimes have made you unable to enjoy his artistic legacy, or if you truly believe Bill is guilty of all he's been accused of. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.